everybody, Chris Graham, Managing Editor of Tracker Magazine, and this is day 6, the final day of my video blog on my trip to Bowraville to research the Bowraville Murders. 3 Aboriginal kids, Colleen Walker, Evelyn Greenup and Clinton Speedy Giroux, disappeared from the Bowraville mission in September 1990, October 1990 and February 1991. The murders remain unsolved. There is a man police and the community believe responsible, a man called Jay Hart, but he's been prosecuted twice and escaped twice. So this story is really about, or the story that I'm writing for Tracker is really about updating people on where the New South Wales government is at in terms of a promise to revisit the issue and look at whether or not Hart can be re-prosecuted for the crime. Day 6, my final day, was a good, productive day. I managed to get to Coffs Harbour, lovely town, a lot of bananas, a surprising number of bananas, and of course the Northern Zone office, Andrew Riley and his mob, who do a really good job looking after a lot of local Aboriginal land councils. There's only, I think, 7 of them in the zone office, but they look after 38 or 39 local Aboriginal land councils, which is no mean feat. So I spent a bit of time with them and dropped a bit of Newswalk merchandise in. Made an unscheduled stop to the Saltwater Freshwater Festival, Alison Page and her mob. A great festival, worth checking out if you get a chance. It's on January 26 in Taree, not that far from Sydney. It's a massive event. They get about 12,000–15,000 people, I suspect, this year. And a showcase of Aboriginal art from throughout the year. And the really impressive thing about Saltwater Freshwater is the model they use. It's 10 local Aboriginal land councils form the board, and they put on events and workshops throughout the year, and the festival on January 26 is really a culmination of that year's worth of activities, so it's well worth checking out. While I was in Coffs, I also managed to visit or to interview Muriel Craig, who is the mother of Colleen Walker. Colleen was the first girl to disappear off the mission. Muriel was living in Sawtell near Coffs Harbour when Colleen went missing. She relocated her family, her husband and kids, to the Bowraville mission to investigate the matter herself, simply because she couldn't get the police to take her seriously. They just basically ignored her. In fact, in the course of the next 9 months, while she investigated the murder, the police only made one attempt to contact her, and that was to come down and tell her that they had found Colleen Walker. She followed the police up to the police station, and within a matter of hours they'd realised it wasn't the real Colleen Walker. It was in fact a nun who'd gotten on a bus to travel to Brisbane. So the only time the police made any attempt to deal with this seriously was when they wrongly told Muriel Craig that her daughter had been found, which speaks some volumes about how the New South Wales Police have handled not just the disappearance of Colleen Walker, but the disappearance of Evelyn Greenup and Clinton Speedy Giroux. Muriel, an amazing woman. I mean, she's got a hell of a lot of strength. I don't know how she keeps going, but look, there'll be a lot more about Colleen and Muriel in the feature in Tracker, and the feature will start in February and it'll go for a couple of months until about April or May. We're profiling each of the children's stories separately. I also managed to, on the way back to Sydney, stop back into Bowraville, and I was able to interview Thomas Giroux, who is the father of Clinton Speedy Giroux. Thomas and his wife Margie Buchanan, they live on the mission. They live literally opposite the memorial where the community has put 3 headstones to acknowledge the deaths of the 3 children. I've got to say, I was talking yesterday about how Aboriginal families deal with trauma, and look, between Thomas and his wife Margie, they have buried 5 children. Clinton was murdered. Another son of Thomas from a previous marriage, Marbach, died of motor neurone disease. They buried a young boy, or a young baby, Wally, who died of cot death. And on Margie's side, she's buried two of her boys, one from sickness, organ failure through alcoholism, and another who dived into a river and never came up. So, you know, it's hard to fathom how any family can bury 5 children, but as I was saying yesterday, everywhere I go in Bowraville and meeting Aboriginal people generally, that is the experience that you get, is just death everywhere. I don't know how they cope with it, and they deal with it on a scale that white people just can't even fathom. I mean, it just doesn't happen in white communities, let alone having a child go missing in the case of Clinton and police not take it seriously, which is what happened to Thomas as well. Clinton's story is a very sad one. He was at the mission purely for holidays to see his dad. He lived in Tenterfield at the time, and he's gone missing. The last place he was seen was in J Hart's caravan. He's gone missing. Police again didn't take the matter seriously until his body turned up about 18 days later, a few kilometres from the mission down a road. He died as a result of a blunt force trauma to the head. Some weeks after that, Evelyn Greenup's body, Evelyn was 4 years of age, also turned up on that stretch of road. And then sometime after that, Colin Walker's clothing was discovered in the Nambucca River at the end of the road, weighted down in a bag with rocks. So look, the interview with Thomas was one of those interviews that you have with Aboriginal people where you walk away wondering how it could possibly be true. But the extraordinary thing about not just Thomas's story and Clinton's story, but Muriel's story and the Greenup story is that it is true, and that is, as I said yesterday, that is the Aboriginal experience in Australia. It's a very common Aboriginal experience anyway. Excuse me. So look, I'm heading home now. I should be back in Sydney tomorrow. The feature's coming along okay. I've still got to speak to some other players in the story, in particular Gary Jubilant, a police officer who has won the admiration of the Bowraville community for the way in which he's conducted the investigation after it was bungled. I'm hoping to catch up with Gary. I'm also a few other players. I'm looking at prosecutors involved in the case and some other witnesses, plus hopefully some other relatives of some of the kids who went missing. So keep a look out for the February edition of Tracker magazine. Also have a look online. I'm going to update the blog online. I'm also going to put some photos up the next day or so from the trip. Some happy photos, some not so happy photos, but a series of photos that kind of document the videos you've been watching for the last 6 days. And on that front, thanks for watching and keeping informed. And also a special thanks to Newswalk, the New South Wales Aboriginal Land Council, my employer. There's not a lot of organisations that are prepared to back this sort of journalism because it's not cheap. It's most expensive in terms of time. And newspapers these days don't tend to back journalism that takes a while to write. So Jeff Scott and Stephen Ryan, the chairman, have been prepared to back this sort of journalism, and they've been prepared to back Tracker more generally, which I and quite a few others are very grateful about. So thanks very much. And again, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you the next time I do a video blog. See you later.